Hey everybody, welcome back to the Best Ride in Planet Coaster Tournament! Last episode, we saw Blackout beat Tri-Storm and Sundial beat Psychola to face off against each other in the third quarterfinals match. Also, we saw Elixir Machine beat the Screaminator and Charoplane beat Genie to set up the final quarterfinals match. Like I mentioned last episode, since we are starting the quarterfinals, the series will now become best of 5, meaning rides will need to win 3 matches instead of 2 in order to move on. For today's matches, we have Coriolis vs Zozo and Ironclaw vs the Aeronauts. Let's get right into our first match of the day and look at the stats of Coriolis vs Zozo. Do I actually need to say anything for this matchup? I think it's safe to say the Coriolis' luck has run out and is about to get hammered by the Zozo. Maybe Zozo's fear and nausea might give Coriolis the upper hand, but I feel those numbers are far too close and Zozo has a crazy excitement. Let's get into the match and see what happens. The beginning of the quarterfinals, match 35, Coriolis vs Zozo. What do I think is going to happen here? I think Zozo's going to 3-0 Coriolis. Remember, we're doing best of 5s now, just to make sure, in case it's a close match, that the better one moves on. So that's how I think this one's going to unfold. Let's find out. Round 1 begins now. Right away, a bunch of people show up, and... okay, well, never mind. Again, always at the start, I get tricked and I think it's going to be a lot closer than it is. It is! Coriolis has gotten more guests than I thought it would, but... yeah, I still think Zozo is going to win it. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. There are a lot of gaps in this line. That's why I say what I say. And why I say it. Let me just make sure everything is still correct with these things. 0, 0, good. Let's look at the guests' thoughts. This park's okay so far. Yep, everything else. People just wishing there was food, drinks, more ride, toilets, the usual. Alright. Zozo does have a lead. Coriolis is doing much better than I thought it would. I'm gonna be honest with that one. It's performing way better than I thought it would. However, I don't think it's gonna be enough. Although I say that, more people are getting that queue line, and then the Zozo's bouncing back, and I don't know. Yeah, I still think the Zozo's gonna win it. This is really surprising looking at the stats of this thing. 2.62 as opposed to Zozo's 4.08. The reason why the Zozo is such a good ride is its high excitement and the fact that its fear is below 3. Imagine if its nausea was lower as well. Like, that is an insane ratio there, and that is why this ride is so destructive when it comes to getting the most guests, because of that alone. Yeah, it's looking like it's gonna be enough, at least in round 1, to win, because yep, that's it. All the guests are in queue lines. Zozo clearly has a longer queue line, therefore Zozo wins round 1. Round 2, Coriolis vs Zozo. Will Coriolis be able to come back? Let's find out. You know, at the start, I bet you it looks like it's going to, and then I bet you that changes within 5 seconds, because that, for some reason, always has been happening. Maybe it's just because right at the start of the park, a lot of guests show up right away. I don't know. Whoa, it's like dead even. And then the Zozo takes the lead. So it starts off pretty even, and then the Zozo runs with it. I feel like this round is going to be closer than the second or first round. However, I still want to give it to the Zozo. I say that. I don't know. It's exciting. It's a lot closer. This giant chunk of guests is going to hit the queue line. But is it going to matter? It's pretty back and forth this round. This Coriolis is keeping up with Zozo. Who thought this would ever happen? I thought Zozo was going to annihilate this ride, but it is doing a lot better than I thought it would. Wow, it's so much closer. But I still think the Zozo is going to win it with a long enough queue line. Yeah. As long as this keeps happening, yeah, I think the Zozo is going to win it. It's kind of close, but... is it close enough to warrant testing the rides? I don't think it is. Because you gotta remember, look at this. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 more guests here. Minus those 2. That is everybody. And, yeah, I think it's safe to say that Zozo has won it, but because I know some people are going to be like, oh, your favorite is Zozo. We'll test them. Just to prove you wrong. Like, Zozo's clearly won it. But, like I said, we gotta run it. Or I know someone's gonna have a problem with it. So, Coriolis has had 4 lifetime guests. Zozo has had 9 lifetime guests. Remember, we subtract those numbers from the entire lifetime. Just so you know, it's even. And then the 2 numbers should add up to 504 when that is all said and done. So, let's get this over with. It's gonna take longer for me because the Zozo's so slow, but here we go. Alright, so you can tell by these queue lines why I really don't like running the rides with the Zozo, how long it takes. Coriolis is done, and since Coriolis is done, we can calculate how many riders the Zozo would have had based off how many riders Coriolis had. So, Coriolis had 244 lifetime guests. Now you subtract the initial 4 riders that were on it when we were setting the queue lines to 0. That means Coriolis had 240 out of the 504 total number of guests in the park, which means Zozo had 264, meaning Zozo wins round 2, and I was right, the queue line was longer, so there you go. You can't say that I'm rigging the thing because the Zozo wins. Alright, round 3, Zozo versus Coriolis. Zozo is up 2 rounds to nothing. Each round has gotten closer and closer, so maybe Coriolis can win around here, or win 2 and force the round 5. I don't know. Let's find out. Odds are Zozo's gonna win it. Here we go. Round 3. Zozo wins. It moves on. Coriolis needs to win to hang on. And right off the start here, it does not look good for the Coriolis at all. Oh man, this looks like it's gonna be the worst round for it, in all honesty. Yeah, Zozo is just... wow. Yikes. So yeah, pretty sure I put this thing in wrong. Although, look, it doesn't make any sense. I put the entrance in the way the arrows are pointing. As in, you enter the park that way. And they all just show up backwards. That's really dumb if it's supposed to be the other way, which is why I put it in the way I put it. Wait, no, this has to be the right way. Because look, the Planet Coaster guy's right there. So it's like you're entering the park and there's the sign. So, if anything, this is backwards, not the way I put it in. That's kind of dumb. Anyway, that's not important. The people show up backwards, they're wrong, not me. And ooh, that's the wrong camera option. Yeah, Zozo. Zozo's gonna win it by the biggest deficit this time. Hands down, we got 490 guests in the park. It's the one really good thing about this ride. Every time we've had it, I'm pretty sure we've always hit 500 guests. 493. It's over. It's finally over. And, as estimated, Zozo 3-0's Coriolis. There was a couple close rounds in there. Thought maybe at the start Coriolis might have been able to best Zozo, at least in a couple rounds, but nope. Zozo 3-0's it and moves on to the semifinals. Up next, we have Ironclaw versus the Aeronauts. You know, before looking at these stats, I would have said that the Ironclaw was going to win this easy. The Aeronauts has pretty close stats to the Coriolis, and that ride put up a good fight against the Zozo. Ironclaw's stats are worse than Zozo, so the Aeronauts might have a decent chance at winning this matchup. Let's see what happens and get right into the match. Match 36, Ironclaw versus the Aeronauts. I honestly don't know who's going to win this one. I was going to say Ironclaw until I saw how high its stats were. But the Aeronauts, actually, that looks similar to Coriolis. So, hey, anything's possible. Let's do this. Round 1 begins after I set everything up because I forgot to because I'm dumb. Round 1 begins. I just got to make sure everything's set right because I'm dumb. Okay, it's all good. All right, round 1 begins now. Go, everyone, find a ride. Go. First group into the Aeronauts. It's a group of 5. I feel like groups of 5 love this ride because if you look at me testing this thing, 2 groups of 5 went on this ride, and a group of 1 and a group of 3 went on the Ironclaw. So that's also interesting. However, I feel as though the Iron Claw now has a lead and is going to maintain that lead. And it appears my initial thought may have been correct. More correct than I thought it was going to be after I looked at the stats again. Okay, yeah, really feeling Iron Claw in this one, and fearing it, to be honest. If I was the Aeronauts, I would definitely be fearing this ride, because it is destroying it right now. Wow. See, this is how I thought it was going to be. And then I looked at the stats, and I was like, maybe not. And now it's exactly the way I thought it was going to be. This is what, okay, just what happens. Don't look at the stats. There you go. Problem solved. Although, half the times, you know, I try to interpret these stats the best I can, but sometimes the results are different. It's so weird. Anyway, it's not a complete runaway, but Iron Claw definitely has a pretty substantial lead here. And we're only at 430 guests in the park. I don't know if we're gonna hit the 500. I'm feeling like we aren't unless we wait here for like 20 years, which I don't have time for that. All things considering, though, I really don't feel the Aeronauts is going to come back in this one. I think Iron Claw has it. Of course, as I say that, every family that enters the park goes into the Aeronauts queue line. Of course. That's always how that one works. But yeah, I guess we'll wait for a little bit to see what happens. Yeah, no one's entering the park. 449 guests. Iron Claw clearly wins it. I don't even know why I waited. Now we know not to wait. Anyway, Iron Claw wins round 1. Round 2, Iron Claw versus the Aeronauts begins now. Aeronauts needs a much different outcome in this match, if it even wants to dream of moving on to the next round. And it's doing a little bit better, but I still don't know if it's going to be enough. It's actually doing a lot better. There you go. It believed in itself, and there you go. Is it going to be enough? It's a good question. I don't know. I feel like it's not going to, but I do feel like this round is going to be much closer than the first round. It's looking pretty even right at the start here. Iron Claw has a slight lead. And it's really feeling like it's getting a longer lead. I don't know. It should be a close one when it's all said and done. I still feel like Iron Claw is going to win it. But, by how much is the question. Where's me? I just kind of zoned out there looking for myself. I didn't say a word. You're probably so confused. Like, what the hell is he doing? I'm trying to find me again. I don't know where I went. Why I stopped coming. That's just crazy how the first time I looked for myself, there I was. And every single time I've looked for myself since, nope. Not showing up. Refuse. Don't know why. Where am I? Where's Mr. Carrot? Was that a lady with a beard? Or am I just losing my mind? Okay, no, she doesn't have a beard. I'm losing my mind. Alright. Looking at the stats here, we're at 443. Iron Claw has a clear lead here. More guests get into its queue line still. Yeah. We're calling it here. It was a much closer round, but again, Iron Claw just definitely has enough to win it. And then we're going on to round 3. Iron Claw wins it, it moves on. If the Aeronauts wins it, it forces round 4. But don't hold your breath. Round 3, Iron Claw versus the Aeronauts. Here we go. Aeronauts desperately needs a win here. I'm not feeling it though. Once you go down 2-0 like in that fashion, yeah, it's oof. Oof, it's looking like it's gonna be another one-sided round again. Although the second I say that, of course it switches. And then the second I bring that up, it switches back, because that's always what happens. Still, this start is a really good start for the Iron Claw, and look how patchy it is. Yeah, I think it's safe to say Iron Claw is going to move on here to face the Zozo in the first semi-final match. Which is, I I feel like the Zozo is going to crush whichever one of these rides gets in. Maybe not. I don't know. Iron Claw stats versus Zozo stats. More excitement, less fear, less nausea. Zozo has compared to the Iron Claw. So, there you go. And then this thing, like these look similar to. Wait, I can just check right now. What ride was that? Coriolis? Fear's pretty close. Oh no, excitement's close. Fear's identical, and nausea's close. So, I mean, I don't even know why I'm looking at it. It doesn't matter because the Aeronauts is clearly not going to move on here. The Aeronauts was pretty close to Coriolis, so either of these rides goes up against Zozo. I feel like the Zozo is going to win it. And I feel like Zozo is going to be the first ride into the championship round. Although, I mean, I felt that for a long time. Like, the Zozo is the whole reason for this tournament existing. So, yeah, I think that's how the top of the bracket's going to go. Clearly, Iron Claw versus Zozo, and then Zozo's going to move on to the championship round. And then, yeah, we'll have to wait and see what the bottom bracket. But I think it's safe to say that the Iron Claw wins this 3-0s. The balloon ride, Aeronauts, that's what it's called, and moves on to the semifinals. And there you have it. Zozo and Iron Claw both win to move on and face off against each other in the semifinals. Next episode, we'll finish off the quarterfinals with Blackout versus Sundial and Elixir Machine versus Chairplane. Thank you all for watching. Leave a like and share the video if you enjoyed. They help it a lot. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you next time.